So last week, my homie Rich Webster, who has a few 100,000 followers on Instagram, and an email that he sends out every week called Work Less Wednesday, go follow him, put out a post that I think is really important to understand. And it will change your life, your finances, and your business, your prosperity. Each one of us is going to have to do our own personal work and go on our own personal journey. And one of the best ways that I know how to do that is to start a business. And so that's what this post is about. And we're just going to kind of break it apart. He starts by saying, if you want to find out who you really are, start a business. When you have a business, there is nowhere to hide. This is something that has proven itself to be so true to me. So when I had my last business, my first business, I was really good at blaming external circumstances or other people for the problems that I had because they were there, right? I had 20 people working for me. I had a lot of systems that I could blame that broke, but in reality, it was me. And in hindsight, I can so clearly see that. And the business that I'm in now, there's nobody to blame because it's just me, right? There's no one else involved. So there's no one that I can project it out onto, and I have to start to own my own shit. Next piece, if you have money issues, you'll feel it. Boy, oh boy, is this the case. Money is intimately linked to business, and it's intimately linked to fear, and it's intimately linked to our limiting beliefs. And so people are going to project their money beliefs onto you. So, I believe that you as a human are infinitely valuable. We literally cannot put a number on the amount of value that you have. However, the marketplace doesn't have infinity money. So we've got to pick a number that is not infinity. And some people are going to disagree with that number. They're going to say that it's not cheap enough, that you should make it so that everyone could afford it. And the reality is that there's something in them that isn't willing to face the fact that they haven't done what it is needed, what is necessary in order to become the person that you need to be to make money in this world, because it is a skill like everything else. And full disclosure, I haven't fully figured it out yet, but I do feel like I'm on the cusp of doing. And what happens around money is people start to bark at you and then you take it on board, right? You tell yourself, oh, they're right. I'm a bad person. All of these things, because they're just reflections. You won't believe it if you know that it's not true. But because you've got some chinks in your own armor, when people start complaining about price or telling you that you're not worth it, if you have an unworthiness belief, which yours truly certainly carries, it really brings up a lot of stuff and forces you to recognize your inherent value as a human. If you have low self-esteem, you'll feel it. So if you do not believe in yourself, what tends to happen is you start to overwork. You start to do more than you have to do in order to prove yourself to the people that you are engaging with. I've said it time and time again. I believe that people engage with me because of me. Not because of my deliverables, not because of the videos that I can create, not because of the assets that I have. It's because of my unique wisdom, my unique energy, the way that I see the world. It's how I apply things to my life and to the lives of other people around me. But so many people, myself included, worry that that's not enough. We worry that we've got to create a certain course or a certain outcome for somebody. We've got to always make ourselves available. That's a big one, right? I've got to make sure that I answer this person in the next hour or two, or I'm not doing my job. Meanwhile, your kid is begging for your attention and you're not paying attention to them. So if you feel unworthy, what you will start to notice is that you are constantly putting other people above yourself. You're constantly scrambling and trying to prove to the world that you deserve to be in the position that you are in. And it is exhausting and it will eventually come crumbling down on top of it. That energy, that fuel, is fear. And fear burns hot. You can get a lot done with fear. I got a lot done in my life for the first 30, 35 years by being afraid. I was extremely motivated and successful and driven. And at a certain point, anything driven by fear crumbles, falls apart, breaks down. And that was the case in my life. It basically exploded and I caused a lot of mayhem. Next, if you can't handle confrontation, you'll feel it. One of my former mentors had a saying, the moment you plant a flag, people are going to start shooting. In other words, when you stand for something, there's going to be someone somewhere else who stands for the opposite thing. That's how we are designed as humans. And it's why when you think you are right, you need to really question that belief because there's right for you. I'm not arguing that, but what is right for you might not be right for somebody else. And everyone is just trying to do their best out in the world. And so people are going to come to you and they're going to say you're doing it wrong. And they're going to tell you that you're harming people and they're going to confront your ideas. And if you are somebody that can't handle that confrontation, if you get sucked down into a defensive posture, what ends up happening is you'll notice over and over again that you spiral downward and all the work that you were doing out in the world gets put on pause so that you can deal with your shame spiral or whatever is going on because you can't handle confrontation. Learning how to deal with conflict is a skill. Conflict teaches us how to be diplomatic. And I'll give you a hint. The key here is letting go of your opinions and your judgments and just trying to hear what people have to say, like really, truly listening to somebody instead of just waiting to say your next piece so that we've got two different monologues happening at the same time. If you can't focus, you'll feel it. It's one thing to go to work every day and to have an environment that keeps you focused and an environment with expectations and somebody telling you what to do. It is another thing entirely to keep your own motivation, to keep your own focus, to stick to your own plan, to know and have faith in yourself and your decisions and what you do. And with social media now, and with, everything, so much in the world is designed to distract us, to capture our attention. And the more that I engage in social media, the more that I engage in just these bite-sized pieces of information, the more I notice my brain is less capable for extended periods of focus, which I was never great in school with extended periods of focus, but I was always really great at extended periods of focus on things that I really cared about. Like I can go down deep rabbit holes for days and days and days and be extremely locked in on something that I care about. And over the past 5 years, I've noticed a significant decline in that. And I've done some contemplating. I don't think it's because my brain is older, although that is part of it. But I think it's more so just the environment and social media right now. And in order to be successful financially, in order to be successful in business, you must maintain focus on the right things. And that takes discernment. What are the right things? So we've got to learn how to be able to train our awareness, how to be able to stay in the present moment, not spiral down these rabbit holes. If we're spiraling down the rabbit holes, we're missing the opportunities that are being presented to us. The universe is trying to help us along. It wants you to be successful. It's benevolent. I really and truly believe that. But if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss what the signs are. If you want it to grow, you have to grow. Your business is a mirror. I have direct evidence of this from my last business. When I was in a positive energetic state, I took the business from $5,000 a month to $88,000 a month. When I was down in the dumps, I took the business from $88,000 a month to $25,000 a month, and my bills every month were $40,000. So I was paying $15,000 or $20,000 every month to go to work. And it's because the business was mirroring where I was. I was going through a dark night of the soul. I had a hard time showing up every day, and I thought I was doing a good job. And actually the actions and the words, I would argue, were the right actions and words. But it didn't matter because the underlying energy people can feel, and you get what you put out into the world. So your business is going to be a mirror of your current state. So if you have been unsuccessful in business thus far, that is an indicator to you that you've got to do some personal development work. You've got to learn how to deal with yourself, with your ego, with your higher self, your soul, your feelings. There's so much happening at any given moment. And I believe it's why we're here on earth, to learn how to be human, how to get better, a little bit better every day, how to help people, how to find love. Your business takes whatever is inside of you and it makes it real. Your business is your shadow in motion. So in a system that I talk about called the Gene Keys, there's this idea that each time we turn our awareness to one of these gene keys, which are basically an archetypal energy, there's 64 of them. And if you are to start contemplating it, thinking about it, rolling it around in your mind, it begins to show up in the external world. It's crazy how this happens, but you have direct experience of it, right? You buy a car, you've maybe seen that car once or twice, or maybe not at all. All of a sudden you buy it and you see it all the time. There is something that happens where our internal state or beliefs are externalized in our world so that we can deal with them. And so your shadow gets thrown up right in front of you in every interaction, in every course that you try to create, in every video you sit down to make. There it is, like a giant projection screen. And it's why so many people delay for so long, because it is so uncomfortable to sit there and wonder, why can't I do this? Why is it so hard for me to sit down in front of a camera and talk? Why is it so hard for me to sit here and write? Why aren't people paying attention to me? And then we start to get in these spirals and these loops. But it all stems from the internal state. When you sit down to work today, pay attention to how you feel. What are you drawn towards? What are you avoiding? Those feelings are a map. Follow them. That's where the real growth lives. We have to allow, or even better, we have to develop the ability to follow our excitement, to follow what lights us up, to follow what feels good. You've been trained for however long you've been alive prior to potentially seeing the world in this way, that you can't do that and be successful in the world. And I'm telling you, that is exactly opposite of the truth. It is the only way to be actually successful in the world. Otherwise, you're just trying to follow along with what somebody else has done, and you are not them. You have a different zone of genius. You're a different human. You have a different aura. You have different energy. So we've got to learn how to move what we are drawn towards. And sometimes we've got to learn to look at what we are avoiding, because that is equally as important, because a lot of the times it's our shadow that is trying to keep us stuck. It's trying to keep us small. So we also need to learn to discern, like, am I avoiding doing this thing because I know that I'm going to have to die to a former version of myself? Because sometimes those are the things we got to do. So it's not always follow the excitement. Actually, I take it back. It is, because you get to a certain point where you're excited to face those things. You're excited to learn and grow and develop and shift and change your opinions. So just to close this out, I'll read this whole thing again. This is from Rich Webster. He's at Rich Webs, which is WEBZ on Instagram. Sorry for showing you my weird foot. And also, he's got an amazing newsletter called Work Less Wednesday that goes out every week. So if you want to find out who you really are, start a business. When you have a business, there's nowhere to hide. If you have money issues, you'll feel it. If you have low self-esteem, you'll feel it. If you can't handle confrontation, you'll feel it. If you can't focus, you'll feel it. If you want it to grow, you have to grow. Your business is a mirror. It takes whatever is inside you and makes it real. Your business is your shadow in motion. Every action you take is a reflection of yourself. When you sit down to work today, pay attention to how you feel. What are you drawn towards? What are you avoiding? Those feelings are a map. Follow them. That is where the real growth lives. If you do that, I'm telling you, your world will change. It is the most powerful self development tool that I have found, bringing my ideas out into the marketplace and into the world. It's like jet fuel. And I need your help out here doing the thing that you actually want to be doing. So do the work. Happy to help. I've got a free community to help with that. It's on School. I'll put the link in the description. And I also do some deep dives with people. So I'll put that link in there too if you want to work one to one. Let's change the planet. Let's change your life and then change the planet. All right, y'all. Until next time.